Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna. And this morning, it's all about don't flinch your faith in the shift. Don't flinch your faith in the shift. I'll say it a third time. Don't flinch in the shift. Don't flinch your faith in the shift. How about that? That's what we're going to share on this morning. And this morning, you always know that I always give a little bit of a word or two about the word I shared. But as some of you know, as the Morning Manna fam know, I was actually in Chicagoland on this past Sunday at Victory. I'll get my words right here in a moment. Victory Apostolic Church. And it was an awesome time. Let me tell you, it was an awesome time. There was men everywhere. They was running things at that church. And I'm going to share a little bit of that word that I shared with them, of course. And you may or may not be aware of this church, but it is an awesome house of God. You need to make sure that if you're in that area, you make sure that you go and check them out. Outstanding. But I'm going to give you a little bit of snippet of that word. I'm going to greet some Manna fam on this morning and get into the word. How about that? How about that on this morning? As some of you, I reached out and said, hey, pray for me. Have this opportunity to minister the word at this awesome house of God. And thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers on this morning and actually on yesterday as well. Let's greet some folk and then get into the word. The word this morning, don't flinch your faith in the shift. Don't flinch your faith. Don't flinch in the shift. What are you talking about, Bishop? I will tell you here in a moment. Good morning, Liz. How are you on this morning? Good morning, Erica, my spiritual daughter. How are you on this morning? Liz is in the house. Dan went with us too. Dan, the man, thank you for traveling with us. What was your experience like, Dan? Hanging out with the bros. What was that like? Good morning, Ari. How are you on this morning? Good morning, Vaughn. How are you on this morning? I did miss New Life now. I ain't getting that grown that fast. I don't miss my home. You already know that. Good morning to you on this morning, Diane. How are you? And I understand that Pastor Travers really brought a word too. It's nothing unusual for him to bring that word. He's always on time. Good morning, Diane. And Michael, how are you? Back in the cut. I see. Good morning. How are you? How was your trip? Netta Love is here as well. Good morning. Good morning to see you. Arlene is here. Verena is here. How was things at New Life? I understand that it was a good word as well. Good morning, Cynthia. How are you? Pastor Richard, how you doing, buddy? All the way from Monrovia, Liberia. How about that? We are going to have conversation. We are just, good morning, Denise. How are you on this morning? Dawn, how are you? Brenda is here in the house as well. Deborah is here. Kimmy is here. Wait, hold up. When did this start? I got both companies in the house on this morning. How about that? LaFawn, how are you on this morning? And maybe I've had it always and didn't know it. Good morning, Elder Jan. Ann, how are you? Elder Mobley, how are you? Patrice, how are you on this morning? Yep, so we thank God for, that's right. Thank you for your prayers, Pastor Richard. You already know. Patrice is here. Patrice is here. Definitely send up prayers. Thank you. Yep, it was a wonderful time. Good morning, Minister Yolanda. How are you? Anna is in the house as well. Jan is here. I already said that. So what were your experience? Dan went, says we had a real great conversation and meal too, and from on the trip, got to know each other quite a bit better. It was blessed. You already know it. Let me get some more. Sharice is here in the house on this morning. This morning is all about don't flinch in the shift. Don't flinch your faith in the shift. That's what we're talking about on this morning. And I certainly got a word for you on this morning. Hang in there. Here we go.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Manna, where in 5 minutes or less, you're going to get an impartation with the text, the talk, and the takeaway. Join the Morning Manna fam every weekday morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't forget to put in the chat the revelation that you get and share the manna. Now, let's get ready to have some manna so you can make it through your day.
Well, I don't know whether or not, did y'all hear that? I didn't hear it on my end, but anyhow, let's go with it. Did you hear me? Let's go with it on this morning. Don't flinch your faith in the shift. Here's the text. The text is Joshua 1 and 9. Joshua 1 and 9 says, the NIV translation, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go. Let's give you the context of the text. Joshua is stepping into a generational transition. Moses is gone. The wilderness is behind them, and the promises is in front of them. There's a shift happening. But here is the tension. Nearly half of the chapter is about courage, and the other half is about some fear. And I suggest to you, could it be that Joshua is having some self-talk because he doesn't say, I am strong, courageous. He says, be. He does not conjugate the verb that he's using. So what do we have here? This is not an accidental thing that we find in the first chapter of Joshua. It is actually a revelation. Joshua isn't declaring confidence. He's declaring there's a shift happening. And there is a shift that is happening in our culture and our community right now. You already know it. So what does that shift look like? And what do we do with that? This isn't just history. This is a moment that we are experiencing right now. There's a shift in the politics, the shift in the community. There's a shift in what is right and wrong. There's a shift everywhere. How do we deal with that? The first thing is this. You got to have courage that confronts the flesh. Courage that confronts the flesh. Now remember, Joshua had to lead people who were still fresh in their flesh. They've not been circumcised. They don't become circumcised until the 5th chapter of Joshua. But yet they got to cross the Jordan. They got to defeat a Jericho. They got to overcome an AI defeat. All of this, you got to be circumcised. Circumcised because you got to control that flesh. Real leaders don't ignore it. They address it and adjust without compromising to it. It is what? The flesh. Two. Because let me be, before I go to 2, understand that circumcision is the cutting of the foreskin and cutting away of the flesh. 2, courage creates the story. Courage creates the story. The generation had no Red Sea, no manna testimony. They had no we made it over story. When people don't have a story of God, leaders must become the bridge to one by modeling it and pointing them to God. Story is powerful. That's why we say his story. It's his story that we're participating in. Story is when you remember when God brought you through. Story is the testimony that we overcome by our the words of the testimony and the blood of the Lamb. Its story is important, and these that Joshua is just taking leadership over do not have a story. What's your story? You know, we say it often, and it is important when God has blessed you and moved upon your life. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Here's the third thing I want you to get. The third thing is this: courage cultivates the fight. Courage cultivates the fight. They weren't ready, but Joshua spoke readiness into them. You have what it takes. God is with you. Now let's move. You have what it takes. You, Morning Manna fam, have what it takes. God is with us. So let's move into what God has for us. Leadership in a shift means you develop people while you are also deploying them. You develop them while you are also deploying them. So what's your takeaway this morning? The takeaway is this: talk yourself out of fear and into faith. Don't let it shift. Talk yourself out of fear and into faith, and don't let it shift in the shift. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you, give you peace. If this bless you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the manna. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more morning manna. God bless you.